How you guys doing? My name is Ryan. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. Just wanted to jump on here and make a video just previewing the week, what I'm seeing in the markets, what I'm looking out for, any opportunities that I see, and what my strategy is going to be looking, heading into this week. News of the weekend, obviously, what happened in Minnesota um, has caused dramatic increase in the chances of a government shutdown starting January 31st. So I think we were looking at a 10% chance, and now it's a 78% chance. So um, markets don't like that. That's uncertainty, and markets don't like uncertainty. So even heading into, as we speak, crypto is selling off, and a lot of times crypto is a precursor for how risk on or risk off the market's going to be. So the fact that it's selling off, it's almost at 86,000 now, Bitcoin is. And all these altcoins, Ethereum's down 5%, 2,700. This is all sitting on support. So if this doesn't hold, I think you could see a pretty dramatic drawdown in crypto, even more from here. So um, we'll see what happens. But even heading into this week, I was very, I have a cautious outlook heading into this week. I just feel like everything seems to be bullish. And whenever we've had a huge run, my portfolio is up 60% year to date. A lot of a lot of equities have been running. And anytime that happens, I get just a little cautious, and I like to take some off the table, book some profits. My core positions, my equity positions, most of those have a long-term thesis, and I don't really anticipate. I don't usually sell those. I cost average in over time. Here and there, I'll take some profits, on a case by case basis. But the options that I have exposed right now, I am planning on selling to close a lot of those heading into next week. I did close some last week, but I'll get into some of the ones I'm looking at right now. So we also have big tech earnings on the docket. I'll go through. I do have some exposure to some of the big tech companies that are reporting, so I'll talk a little bit about that. And then there is some bullish news over the weekend for some positions that I hold as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But so first, like I said, this government shutdown. We'll see what happens. When the government shutdown happened a couple of months ago, the market did sell off, but it took 2-3 weeks into it before it actually did start selling off, if you go back and look at it. And so, I don't, hopefully this isn't prolonged. Hopefully they can figure it out. I think right now it does not look like that is going to happen. So it is something to be very cautious of. Market doesn't like uncertainty. That's the bottom line. And, we need to, it's just a distraction, and I hate that it's happening. So that's kind of my feelings in the overall broader market, and sentiment. We'll get a little bit into some specifics now. Big piece of news over the weekend, USA Rare Earths. It's been reported that the Trump administration is going to inject $1.6 billion into this company and take a stake in the company. This is huge news. And so why it's huge news is I saw a number of people flagging that there was massive, unusual call activity, both large calls being taken out and at a price that is way out of the money. So I think I saw, there was millions of dollars of call options being bought for the $43 strike price in June of this year. And so why that is so interesting and why it was so unusual, I'm going to pull up USA Rare Earths right now, is because right now it's only trading, or at the time it was only trading at $20. So I don't know. There was a lot of accounts that were talking about this, but Zero Hedge is one of them. They flagged this on Thursday, January 22nd, which is when I saw it. I think, what time of the day was this? 2:18 p.m. Yeah. So I think I noticed this after close on Thursday. Friday morning, and I'm going to pull up the trades that I made this week. USAR, I bought Friday morning both call options and equity in USA Rare Earths. I think I was up 9% in my equity so the stock was up 9% on Friday. I was up 7%, and then my call options are already up 25%. So basically, all these whales were buying these options on Thursday, basically saying that it's going to more than double, because this was when it was around $20, which is a huge bet. I mean, buying call options for 100% move in 6 months is a bold statement, and unless of course you know something's going to happen. And so it appears some people did, because we have this news now announced or reported yesterday that the U.S. government is taking the stake in USA Rare Earths. So it's supposed to be announced tomorrow morning or sometime tomorrow, Monday, and it's going to become official. But so we're going to see a massive move in this stock tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing run all the way up to $43. I mean, it could be a very good day for USA Rare Earths. So hopefully, I'm interested to see that. And I'm interested to see, because if the market's going risk off and Bitcoin and all these crypto assets are selling off, a lot of the time that spreads to the rest of the market. But we'll see. I think maybe commodities will be shielded from that, and we'll continue to see money flowing into that sector. So it could be a very nice day for USA Rare Earths. And then another stock that I want to talk about, and I talked about this in my parents' portfolio video, is VG. So VG is another stock that was brought to my attention following people on Twitter. And I wish I remembered the exact account. Unfortunately, I don't. But I was looking for natural gas opportunities, and natural gas was right on support. It just had pulled back a lot, and it looked like I just felt like we were going to get a big bounce in natural gas, and we did. VG is a liquefied natural gas company. I posted this on January 14th. I bought equity bought equity, and I bought calls expiring 2/27 at $8.50. So VG, again, it was brought to my attention online, on somewhere on X, and I felt like we were going to see a bounce in natural gas. I got a little bit lucky as well, because VG was in the news as well this week. It was announced. Let's see here. Here it is. So here's Zero Hedge talking about it on Wednesday of last week. They won an arbitration case against Repsol, which is in Spain. That was good for them. So we saw the stock jump quite a bit this week. I'm up over 100% on my options for VG right now, and my equity is looking good too. This is not a newer company, but it's only been public for about a year. And the bullish case with this stock is now, Europe, worst, completely incompetent energy policy, but it's a whole other story. Bottom line is they're going to be reliant. They cut off ties with Russia. They don't really produce much energy themselves. So America is going to deliver liquefied natural gas to them. And so this is one of the companies that's going to benefit from that. Massive short float on this stock, 58% float on this stock. and sorry, 58% of the stock is of the float is short, and so we might see a big squeeze in this stock as well. If you don't own this stock, I would probably, if it was me, I would be buying this pre-market on Monday, and here's why. It just broke out of a falling wedge. This is when I like to buy stocks. I mean, I took a calculated risk buying it down here. And the reason I did that is because it was basically because it was so low and it was starting to curl up, and I like the story on this stock, but now it's broken out and closed on top of this falling wedge pattern on this trend line, and we have a huge gap here, and this gap I think is going to fill. So it might be a real nice week for VG. It might be a real nice week for US rare earths. Those are two exciting opportunities I'm going to be looking at closely. I'm already positioned, but the bigger point that I want to make is these two stocks were brought to my attention by the people I follow on X, and a lot of people use social media to follow political figures, and everybody uses it for different reasons. But if you follow the right people, there's a ton of people on X that are putting out valuable information and sharing real opportunities that if you're paying attention, could dramatically improve your life or make you some money. So, just something to look out for. Follow the right people. It's like people say, surround yourself with people that want what's best for you. Surround yourself with people that are talking about opportunities on social media as well. Just something to think about. Like, again, I've found a lot of opportunities on X, and I'm very grateful for a lot of people, and that's why I try to do the same and just bring potential opportunities to people's attention. And so there's opportunity out there. So just something to think about when you're logging on to X or whatever social media platform you like. Who are you following, and is that content really benefiting you? So, VG, USA USA Rare Earth, a couple stocks that we're going to be excited to see what they do this week, even if I'm relatively bearish the broader markets going into next week. We also have some big tech earnings. I do have exposure to some big tech companies. I have open call options in Meta. I have open call options in Amazon and Tesla. I also have large equity positions in both Amazon and Tesla. I'm planning on there's some people have been flagging some unusual call buying in Meta in the 750 range. And there's a lot of bullishness around Meta. I typically do not like to hold call options or any options going into earnings for companies. To me, it's more like gambling. I don't know what the market is gonna, they could beat on earnings, but then the market might not like guidance, and vice versa. So it's just something that I don't like doing. It's too risky for me. So for that reason, Meta is reporting January 28th. I trimmed an option. Meta had a real nice week last week, and so I did trim my call options for a little bit of a gain last week, but I am holding on to just two options. So not a huge position. I'm up 32% right now on Meta. We'll see. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on a lot of my options because like I said, I want to trim a little bit this week. But Meta, I am going to most likely trim these options sell to close these options before earnings. Tesla and Amazon, these are two other companies. I'm a long-term holder in Tesla. I'm a huge believer in Elon Musk. I think that the upside for this company is massive. I think there is I see the investors like Naval and all these big time investors that I look up to, and I just feel like there's something we don't fully know about Tesla that a lot of people do. Um, I think robo-taxi is a huge opportunity. I think there's there's a couple other obviously robotics, autonomy. I think Tesla. I'm going to hang on to my Tesla shares. I'm going to hang on to most likely hang on to my Tesla call options. I'm actually down 22% on those. I have $500 call options expiring 5/15. So, why I might hang on to the Tesla call options is because Tesla is the financials don't really matter, as strange as that seems, but Tesla call options are going to the Tesla earnings report, it could miss, and I think it probably will. It seems like it usually does, but people are invested in Teslas because of the growth story. It's not because of how much money they're making right now or losing right now. So, Tesla, the reason why I'm going to hold on to those positions through the earnings report is because I just think the market is, their earnings are not going to drive where the market goes. And the guidance from Elon, I think is more likely, just knowing Elon Musk, he's an optimist, and he I think is going to provide optimistic guidance. So that's my thought process on Tesla. Amazon, I'm holding a large equity position in Amazon, and I do have call options in Amazon as well. Just up 7% on those. I have 240 expiring 4/17. So, Amazon. The reason I'm so bullish on Amazon is, well, it didn't move much last year. I think year to date in all of the calendar year 2025, it was only up about 4%. I think Amazon is going to benefit immensely from autonomy. I think that I did see, unfortunately, depending upon how you look at it, they are planning on laying a lot of people off in the very near future, which obviously human story is sad, but from a perspective of its margins and bottom line, that should help. Autonomy is coming, and there's going to be a lot of jobs that are eliminated. It's just a fact. So it's a whole larger debate on, does that create jobs elsewhere, et cetera. But I think Amazon's margins, as autonomy improves, are also going to improve. Amazon also, they're an AI infrastructure play as well. They have chips now that they're going to sell and compete against NVIDIA, against other chip makers, and then they also have AWS, which is they could rent out data space to other companies. So I just think I think Amazon has lagged the market, and I think of all the big seven, the Magnificent Seven, they are the company that I'm most bullish on right now. Google's there's a strong case made for Google as well. I don't have any position in Google, but I'm going to be holding Amazon. I'm going to be holding Tesla through earnings. Amazon, actually, their earnings aren't until next week, February 5th. So a little bit of time on Amazon. Tesla, Meta, they both report January 28th, which is this Wednesday, I think, after the market. But so plan on trimming some Meta shares, and then there's some other options that I'm going to be selling out of. But we'll see what happens. I think there's a lot of commodities that are on the cusp of having a huge run, similar to silver, copper, lithium. I bought a lot of copper and lithium companies this past week. If you're not positioned in those sectors, I would consider it. Uh, IPI is another stock that I bought. Um, I didn't have as much exposure to lithium than I wanted, and even copper I wanted more exposure to. So I made some plays last week to add to my portfolio there. Broader markets, S&P, Nasdaq. I don't. I'm not super bullish. The commodity sector, I'm very bullish. Couldn't be more bullish. So we'll see what happens. That's kind of everything I'm thinking about for next week. I will say there is something else that I'm keeping my eye on, and I don't know. It's oil. I don't know. I'm very torn on what's going to happen with oil. All the charts seem to suggest that oil is going to go on a big run, and it could. But my head and a lot of the fundamentals to me are bearish. I just think that I just don't think they're going to let Trump and I just don't think they're going to let oil run. Maybe they can't keep it down. They try to keep silver down for such a long time, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not an oil expert. I just feel like there's plenty of supply of oil. It's not the same as some of these mining companies, or sorry, minerals that you need to mine for. I just think there's a lot of supply, and again, there's other people. There's competing themes about that. We are using more and more oil every day, so we do need more of it, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Rick Rule is currently buying a lot of oil stocks. There's a lot of smart money that's buying oil stocks. So I have added some exposure to oil. I don't have a lot, but I have at least put some position on an oil. So, by the way, Doomberg is very bearish oil. I was just listening to a podcast with him, and they think that there's plenty of supply. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of uncertainty heading into the markets this week. I could not be more. It's going to be exciting. The commodity space, nothing has changed. There might be a pullback. If there is, I don't see a big pullback happening in copper. I don't see a big pullback happening in lithium. Fertilizer looks good. I think commodities are going to continue to do well. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the rest of the markets. I think that's all I got here. We'll see. First video, so we'll see. Previewing everything. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe I could. Hopefully, I'm not rambling too much, but I usually do this every Sunday anyway, so I figured I would just talk out loud and record heading into this week. So, good luck everybody this week, and we'll be back. Appreciate the give me a like and a follow if you like this type of content, and have a great rest of the weekend.